Good morning, members of the board. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about community risk reduction um, and what it is and a plan to help emergency services in the Charlotte region. Community risk reduction is a process to identify and prioritize local risk, help communities to find out and develop a plan to reduce risk viewed as a high priority. For example, in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg region, demand on emergency service field, including the fire department, ambulance services, and hospital systems, is really high. Medical calls are delayed numerous times a day because fire trucks are tied up on different incidences, therefore delaying patient care. Additionally, being transported to local hospitals for non-emergency issues, taking ambulances out of service for extended periods of time when they are divided into different facilities because the closest hospital is full. If the fire department, medic, and hospital systems got together and worked together through a team process, it would increase their communication and our ability to serve patients while also reducing some of the stress that's hitting the emergency services field. Additionally, with the current pandemic, people are going to hospitals because of fear of dying at home, having trouble breathing. COVID positive patients being up in the hospital or going back to the hospital numerous times puts a strain on the healthcare system. Charlotte's a very large city. The square mileage is just over 300 square miles with a population of almost 1 million. Both medic and the fire department are very busy organizations. Engine 22 for the fire department is one of the busiest engines in the city. And it runs approximately 5,500 calls a year, not including additional calls that they missed when out on the road. So for this community risk reduction program, the goal is to implement several steps. The one I mentioned before, having joint teams from the hospital system, medic, and the fire department all working together for ideas, community planning, and collecting and consolidating data between the three to help come up with ways to lessen the strain. So we have some short-term priorities and some long-term priorities. The short-term priorities is obviously going to be the starting of the medical teams between the fire department, hospital, and ambulance service. The next, that team opens up communications between the three. They'll meet regularly to discuss call type, volume, and significant trends. Additionally, as far as the fire department is concerned and our stress on the fire department, I'm introducing a plan to have community or fire department QRVs, a quick response vehicle, which will be manned by one or two people that run these non-emergency calls that you don't need a crew of 4 firemen to attend. Over a period of the next couple of years, we'll implement a couple this year, a couple the following year, and 3 more the following year. I think those will make the drastic changes in our numbers. For Engine 22, for example, that could potentially lower their volume from around 5,500 calls a year down to potentially 4,000 calls a year, which is a big drop in volume. So these QRVs will be SUV type vehicles or pickup trucks with little equipment. That'll be that person's assigned riding vehicle, and they'll run these medical calls. But it helps, along with also not running fire trucks, it'll reduce their maintenance costs and fuel costs and things like that. In a long-term priority and plan, we have an idea for a combined communication center that involves all the Mecklenburg County Fire Departments, Charlotte Fire Department, and Medic Ambulance Service, and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. That puts all these companies all in the same, or these operation centers all together. It makes for an easier disbursement of information. So we have a bad time with relaying information from one business to another, not business, but one communication center to another. Data kind of comes in, split between multiple different call centers. Stuff is lost, duplicated. You'll have different fire companies looking for the same accident or same incident, stuff like that. So a combined communication center would help reduce that. That's our biggest cost item. And a plan is to start budgeting funds from police department, fire department, and medic to help build that facility, which is going to be a $15-16 million facility plus land acquisition, and looking at opening the doors to that in approximately July of 2025. Another plan is third-party transportation services that help get patients to and from doctor's appointments or hospitals, treatment facilities. This allows ambulances to only be used for BLS, ALS transported to a hospital or urgent care facility. This would also aid in the habit that people have of using the ambulance service medic as a taxi service. Reduce costs across all agencies. Contracted services for these patients who need to see a doctor but not emergency medical care. So it in turn also lowers the impact for the patients too. There's several programs around the state. Medical, basically referred to as medical Ubers. Lyft also has a program for this. We must change the way we do business, but saying that scares people from the thought of extra dollars dedicating to solve a problem and they worry about diminished patient care. So the true impact that we are looking at is that there's not enough emergency service hospital beds for increased demand, especially if you consider non-life-threatening emergencies and life-threatening emergencies. Through programs listed above, there'll be some cost raised and some cost decreased. Patient care is increased and the hospitals are more readily available. In addition, these programs will increase the trust and confidence of the citizens because they'll have alternatives from other than just dialing 911. A key aspect of the system programs is strong promotion and advertising to get the word out and help the program be understood.